tonight we are talking about video games, especially the video games from the 1980s. We had a little bit of a foobar moment there with our train of thought. So we're back on track. As you can see, Fernando's still sort of grinning his head off, but think back.
All I can say is that Friday mornings are amazing. I mean, I don't know any other way to start off an amazing TGAF.
Well, just for everybody else, yes, we do record on a Friday morning America time, and it's a Friday night Western Australia time. But for everybody else, it's usually a Tuesday morning or a Tuesday night, because that's when we release our videos. But tonight we are traveling back to 1981, Portland, Oregon, back in the good old days of the video arcades. You know, think Tron. Tron is a classic, the video games back then. And, you know, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Galaxian, you know, Space Invaders. I mean, Space Invaders is one of the biggest of them all. But you're thinking to yourselves, why does this even sound like it's anything to do with what we normally talk about? Well, stay with us, because we do get there. Yes, we're talking video games and all that ridiculous fashion from the 80s. Cue montage of video clips and stupid haircuts and bad music and all the stuff that I actually grew up with and I absolutely love. But back to Portland, Oregon. In one specific arcade, a game was dropped off. And anybody who knows about this knows what I'm going to talk about. Now, beyond that one game, which is going to remain nameless for the next few moments, it is rumored that it was also dropped off in 4 others. They reckon there were 5 of these games across Portland, and they were only there for 4 or 5 weeks. Now, anybody that was there in the 80s will know that these video games had all the big splash across the top of them, like Galaxian, and all these wicked pictures down the sides of them, just to get you to come and put your money in and play the game. This one was totally black, stealthy, with just the name Polybius across the top. Yes, we are talking about Polybius. Now, for those of you that don't know, well, there's a lot of people don't know really. This is pretty much an urban legend in the gaming community. So it's supposed to be a vector type game, and basically there was nothing really fancy about it. There was nothing really, yes, play me, but those that did, firstly, got addicted to playing it. They don't know why. Then they started having seizures. Some of them started having memory problems and lots of other things. Now, where this all went off the tracks is 5 weeks later, Men in Black rolled up to these arcades, collected those games, and they've never been seen or heard of since. So, what do you make of that?
I mean, I would say first, thankfully, I wasn't born when this game came out.
Right. Thank you very much.
And this is actually the first time I hear of it, and it's the reason why you're seeing me, looking
frantically googling
my shoulder, because it is an interesting story to say the least. Players supposedly suffered from a series of unpleasant side effects, including seizures,
yes,
amnesia,
yes,
insomnia, night terrors, and the hallucinations.
Yes.
So it makes me question whether, like, what were the visuals like? Was the visuals, in a way manipulating certain brain waves?
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah.
Because all of this stuff is basically, mental health issues.
Have you ever seen the original Asteroids? They are just
the video game.
Yeah, the original one, not the Atari one with the big blocks or anything. The original one where it's just the like squiggly wire lines.
Actually, no.
No, well that's I think Defender was very similar. They call it vector graphics. It's not solid colors and certainly not the animations that you see in this day and age. We had this thing called a Vectrex, which is the same sort of thing. It was just all vector graphics. And I don't know, I used to love that stuff. It's 80s to the core. So I think to keep the size down, I reckon you can fit the whole game on a little flash stick. It was a tight, the resolution, you know, you didn't even get like okay, so you talk about your 32-bit, 64-bit, all these color systems, and then you work all your way back to 16-bit to 8-bit, and you go back to 256 colors. This didn't even have that. This probably had 4 colors. That's how basic it was. But it's where the whole conspiracy comes from. It is the fact that nobody can prove they existed, even though lots of people remember them. It's almost like a Mandela effect kind of thing, you know.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, it is ridiculous, and it only happened in that one little area of Portland. But what was really weird is that men in black suits removed the games, not guys in the little overalls or what you would expect to drop off a game or pick a game up. It was just men in black suits. And there are rumors that the entire thing could be tied back to MK Ultra. Yes.
You know, I just came upon this little article over here. I mean, as I stated earlier, you know, I am a gamer, so I follow all these, you know, games. So there is a magazine I'm sure that everybody's familiar with, GamePro. It's like a magazine. All right, so I just read something very interesting over here.
Do share.
The first known printed mention of Polybius, exposing the legend to a mass market audience, is in the September 2003 issue of GamePro.
Yep.
The feature story Secrets and Lies declared the game's existence to be inconclusive, helping to both spark curiosity and spread the story. So, you know, like it's very much like the Mandela effect. A bunch of people remembers a certain something, and later on it was just it wasn't, you know, real or something on, you know, it.
I'll give you something to Google, right? So you can Google this in just a moment while look up the name of the people that made Polybius, right? It's a German word, and what you need to do is look up what that word actually means, and it's almost like there's hidden meaning just in the name of this company. And when you tie this whole thing together, you know, it sounds silly. It sounds so silly, but there are so many people that claim, yes, they played it, yes, they had these effects from it. And then there are other people that say, no, it's just a gaming urban legend. So what is it?
I mean, actually, I cannot pronounce
begins with
the
S.
German word.
I think.
It begins with what?
S. Isn't it?
Is it an S? To me, is a reverse. Is it Z?
Yeah,
Z?
It's weird.
This thing has
See, it's messing with Fernando's head already.
The German language has me all questioning the alphabet right now. Like, wait a minute, is the Z like this or is?
But
Sinislotion.
Yes, that's the one.
Oh, so the word is described by writer so and so as not quiet, idiomatic German.
everything about Polybius, the maker, everything about it is just so weird, and it's definitely a little hole that you could fall down and continually fall down while you're trying to read all this stuff on it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Yeah. So the game was popular to the point of addiction, with lines forming around the machines and
Yeah.
often resulting in fights over who would play next. The
Yes.
machines were visited by men in black.
Yes.
So, it's just it does seem like a huge conspiracy. And, the alleged original Polybius arcade game is generally believed to have never existed, and the legend a hoax.
Mm.
But there is.
Yeah, people have found evidence of it. They've found allegedly the old, the big gaming console things that you play when you're in the arcade, the big arcade machine itself. They reckon they found them. They found the startup screen showing the Sinislotion logo and the startup thing, and it's very, very, very basic. There's the title, put your money in, away you go. And in fact, you've probably already seen it by now because I've probably played it. But
I mean, yeah, this story is very interesting. I mean, it's apparently it doesn't exist because there's a organization who requested information on Polybius, like to what seems to be like a document from, what is this? Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation, from the FBI. And there was nothing. I mean, you see a couple of, blacked out lines, but
redacted stuff. Yep.
there's no information.
So here's the thing, right? If the FBI are involved, is it just urban legend or is there more to it? Because the fact that they're actually looking into it, there's got to be enough for them to go, let's open a case file. And they don't usually open case files on this sort of stuff, Now, again, how I said before, it ties into people say it ties into MK Ultra, mind control, things like that. So playing this game is, you heard the side effects, amnesia, all the different things that were happening. Now, you think around that time, they were heavy onto those mind control programs. And it makes you think that they were actually testing on the American public with these games to work out what actually works. And while we know about Polybius, what else is out there that we don't know about?
For sure. I mean, I still haven't really come across a answer to my question, like, what was this used for? Like, what kind of data were they trying to collect from people playing a video game?
Well, you think about it. You think about it. If they're looking into mind control techniques on what works and what doesn't, the strongest they reckon the strongest minds are the young people. So, how easily can they sway certain side effects from certain people, and then they can test those in different areas, you know what I mean? So it's really, it's quite sinister actually, if that is the truth behind it all. Now, they kind of touched on this back in the in 1984 in a movie which is, okay, the nerdy Gary's coming out here. One of my favorite movies is The Last Starfighter from 1984. I don't know if you've seen that. It's about this guy that pretty much lives a dead end kind of life. They live in a trailer park, and the only thing that's of any excitement to him is there is a arcade game up at the shop up at the top near the road called The Last Starfighter. So he's playing the game, and he actually gets through to the end screen. He defeats the game and gets through to the end screen. Now, the premise of this film is that was put there as a test. And once he reached that end screen, the people that put the test in place were notified. And what it was, this guy comes down in this car, which is actually a spaceship, and he is then taken up, Alex Rogan was his name, taken up into space, because all the skills to play this game are the same skills that we use to fly or to fire one of these starfighters, spaceships, and he had to take on the Kodan Armada pretty much single-handedly with his little alien friend Grig or whatever his name is, and it all stems back to the results of a game. So take the super science fiction nerdy bits out of The Last Starfighter. If the government are wanting to try mind control techniques and things like that, if they play this game, they're still going to get the data that they require to move forward to the next stage. What is the next stage?
Man, you know, the first thing that popped into my head when you brought this whole topic up, I was, looking into research, and they're calling it, killer in the arcade. So for some reason, my mind went into some sort of like, is this like, what kind of danger is it presenting itself to us human beings? Is it, do you get sucked in and something happens like Jumanji or something, or but then it is very cynical. It is very cynical.
I mean, I don't think it's quite like that. But if you think about it, right? If you look at a lot of these, these hypnotists, how they'll use a keyword to activate somebody, and it's like, okay, going back to the 80s, they talked about the sleeper agents from Russia, and I'm sure the Americans had the same kind of thing. And it's testing, that they were sent over to live in America, like typical American family doing their thing, until they get a phone call and there's one word, which is a keyword which activates them and activates their mission. So they could be living next door to you, and you might know them, have dinner with the kids and stuff like that. And then as soon as they're activated, they're stone cold killers or whatever they're programmed to do. Do you reckon Polybius could have the potential to be a way of actually getting these messages into the brain? Because the fact that the brain was suffering from of the players was suffering from amnesia, they were having seizures, all these different things. If that was a normal game, it would be pulled off the shelf because it would be causing all sorts of problems for the public. But it wasn't. Well, it was, but it was only up there for 5 weeks. But it was a lot more severe, the side effects.
Yeah, I mean, again, it brings me back, like, did they lose contact with their sleeper agents per se, and then they just put out this thing just to see who would get activated?
I don't know if that's the case. I think they're more testing new techniques and different ways of getting other people involved in the program who don't even know they're involved. If while they're playing those games they're suffering from amnesia, it means they don't remember what's happened. How do you know they weren't programmed with a secret code or a secret mission? I don't know how it works, right? But especially with the graphics from back in the day, everybody knows about subliminal messaging and it's a hard word to say, subliminal programming and things like that. See, if I'd have been subliminally programmed, I would be able to say words like that really easily. So I'm pretty safe.
Hey, I consider myself having a heavy tongue when it comes to certain English words. So yeah, I think I'm safe too. Oh man. But yeah, this is a very interesting story, and the fact that it's there are agencies out there trying to push this game into non-existence, but thankfully there are people during the 1980s. That technology wasn't that great, but there was cameras.
Do you think the Scientologists have a copy of Polybius?
Do you think there's an arcade in the Vatican?
That was the next one. I actually thought of that one first, but then the Scientologists sort of jumped ahead of the Vatican. Yeah, you get into the secret archives, and there's Polybius there, right next to the Corona visor or whatever it's called, and things like that. It's Who knows?
Oh
Who knows?
man,
Because I mean,
that
okay, I'm going to get myself in some doo doo here, but they are masters of brainwashing, aren't they? Really?
hey, yeah. Well, I mean, if there is a machine in existence and there is just the one left,
I
why
think
wouldn't it not be in the Vatican?
because the Scientologists might have it.
Ah,
Yeah,
wow.
they're fighting over it. So,
Wow.
but no, it's I don't know how fake because there is not much information on it because it can't be proven that it actually exists. It can't be proven that it doesn't exist. There are people that definitely remember playing it. And then there's FBI files, there's this, there's that. There is so much evidence to say that the subject has been brought up before that there has to be something to it. And the fact that it's so hidden, why is it such a taboo thing to talk about? It's just supposed to be a game.
You know, this is I just found an article.
Yeah.
Heart is blamed in death of video game patron 18. An 18-year-old South Holland youth died of a heart attack while playing a video game in Calumet City, the Lake County, Indiana. Deputy Lake so-and-so, possibly that the died earlier this month as a direct result of stress caused by the game, was investigated. But
So what we're saying is there's a sequel to Polybius.
so yeah,
And if you want to go one step further, if you type in Polybius and find out the actual name, well, the namesake, as in I think he's a Greek philosopher or something like that called Polybius. You read up about him, and that ties into, okay, so maybe that's why they called the game Polybius, because this whole thing just gets more and more convoluted the further you dive into it.
How
Yes. See what I mean?
all right. we need to have an episode, and we need to talk about the Men in Black because they apparently show up everywhere.
Yeah. We have done one in the past, but we are due for another one.
That's gonna be an interesting one. Yep. I'm not talking about the Men in Black with Will Smith or none of these guys. MLJ.
But you think about it. What's that one? That little pen that you poof, and it takes your memory away. Maybe the predecessor with that was Polybius.
Wow, you blew my mind. I was just about to say that. What if the technology that went into that pen had something to do with Polybius?
Yeah.
They were just perfecting the mind wipe.
Yeah.
Wow. That's that.
And let's face it, if you're a government that's, I mean, okay, or maybe government's a bit too harsh. Maybe you're a secret society within the government who's going to put something out there that is so intensely bad that you need to then create amnesia on a mass scale so people don't remember what you've done. That ties into the Mandela effect. It ties into so many different things, especially MK Ultra, because it's mind control. It's controlling people's perception of reality, and then they can rewrite it and rewrite the narrative to suit their own ends. How do we know we haven't been externally corrected already?
Man, Gary, thank you. Thank you for introducing me to the Shadow Files podcast. And, you guys are opening my eyes to a lot of things. I mean, right now I'm sitting, it is 8 o'clock in the morning, sun is beaming. I have all the curtains closed. So I'm damn near almost ready to put a tinfoil hat on.
Job done. Job done.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Thank you.
If anybody is watching, please send us photos of you with your tinfoil hats on. We will put them up in a video for sure.
Oh man, I'm going to the dollar store right now. Oh man,
just be mindful. I mean, the one place in the 80s that they used to say was you could drop your kids off. Like here, right? You go into a shopping centre so that mum and dad can go do their shopping. They would have lock-ins in these arcades where they would take people in there for an hour. The doors would be locked. The kids could just play whatever games they wanted. If games like that are in there, what were these parents unknowingly submitting their kids to playing? You know? And is that the reason why there's so much mental health issues happening now? But when you go back to the 80s, mental health issues, it wasn't as big as it is now. Maybe because they were a lot more innocent, a little bit more naive back then. Or is it that something has happened which is now causing these things to really take it to the front? Because it's a big thing now, you know? And everybody has some kind of an issue one way or the other at some level or other as well. And the next place you take it to after that is if they could do these kind of things with vector graphics back in 1981, with the advance of technology, the internet, and the fact that they can get to you in your bedroom, they can get to you on the toilet, they can get to you anywhere you want as long as there's a screen or a speaker close by, they can reach you. What can they be doing to people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without even walking out of their own rooms? They just push a few buttons, and what are they doing to everybody? Is that why the world is so messed up at the moment?
The first thing that came to mind when you said that was cell phones.
Yes.
I mean, they're already tracking us. Who knows what else they're doing?
How many people have talked about something with their friends, and then the next time they open their phone up, they all start popping up places, things to buy and stuff like that? Let's see if Polybius has come up yet.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. That's crazy that you mentioned that. Well, the weirdest thing ever was between my girlfriend and I, we started talking about, from these oh my god, what was it? I even forgot about it. But that same day, I went to the bathroom, turned on my cell phone, and boom, a commercial on TikTok. I was like, wow. Like, never have I ever. Like, that was concisive proof that something is listening and they're just promoting.
And did that all start in 1981 in Portland, Oregon, with a lone video game called Polybius, which ended up with 4 mates over the next few weeks before they all miraculously disappeared, surrounded by men in black, never to be seen, never to be heard from ever again.